First of all, giving all honor and glory and praises to the omnipotent Lord of all, who has not forgotten nor forsaken us on this horrific journey and struggle towards true freedom, justice, and equity for the struggling masses of black people on the planet and all other nations who are suffering under the thumb of demonic oppression. I greet everybody affectionately with peace and blessings. This piece is called The Messianic Spirit and Legacy of Black Leadership in America. And it is centered around the fact that for far too long, black leaders have been denied their rightful places in the annals of history, as well as the recognition of their spiritual stations as the Messianic personages for not only the masses of blacks in America, but the entire human family. Although there are many dynamics that serve as obstacles to their entrance and recognition, the most outstanding of the factors is the reality that the majority of the human family has been taught that the Messiah can and only has been applied to one individual in all of history. As a result, anybody who attempts to label themselves as the Messiah or accept that label being imposed upon them have become subject of ridicule, scorn, mockery, and at best had been considered blasphemous or profane. That title, for some reason or another, and we'll get into that, has been applied to only one individual. And if you are not referring to Jesus Christ, then you are way out of bounds in terms of being called the Messiah or calling anybody else the Messiah. This is a result of the Greco-Roman mindset that had been put on our people, the Greco-Roman thought that has been put on our people. And as we go into this information, it will be revealed. Understand that it is not our intention to destroy anybody's belief system, discredit anybody's belief system, but we are attacking the European influence on all of our belief systems so that as we begin to attack this European influence, we will become closer and closer to realizing that we're on one page. And that is what the Universal Breath of Life is all about, getting us all on one page. Now, let's go to the Webster's Third International Dictionary of 1967, which defines Messiah as the expected deliverer or savior. It also defines the Messiah as the expected king or deliverer of the Jews. And that's a whole conversation within itself. We see that it also goes on to say one accepted as or claiming to be a leader destined to bring about a desired state or condition. Stop right there. One accepted as or claiming to be a leader destined to bring about a desired state or condition. Now, if we can't agree that the condition of our people, the so-called black, so-called Negro, so-called African American, so-called niggers, so-called coon, so-called porch monkey, jungle bunny, whatever we're called this year on the census or in the next 10 years on the census, if we can't agree that our condition needs to be changed, like the definition mandated right here when it said that one accepted as or claiming to be a destined leader to bring about a desired state or condition. If we can't agree that our state and or condition needs to be changed, then I mean, we might as well stop this program right now. But if we go back, not even too far, we don't have to go back to chattel slavery. We don't have to go back to the 60s. We don't have to go back to the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Here in 2007, we can understand that our desired state or condition leaves much to be desired. Okay, so let's move on. On the surface, when we refer to the definition, the expected king and deliverer of the Jews, that appears to be referring to one person. And I will concede that that does appear to be referring to one person. For example, they use the, which is the definite article, which explains or describes or defines one individual. But history, it bears record that it is describing a position that is held by a particular person during a particular dispensation of time. So even if we are to say the expected king or deliverer of the Jews, first of all, without even getting deep into the erroneous use of the term Jews and who the term really was defined to, without getting into all of that, we can go ahead and be sure that it is referring to somebody who is in a need of deliverance. I mean, if the people are already free, if we perceive those European with locks on the sides of their head and the little white fringes hanging down off of their or tassels hanging down off of their outfit, if we refer to them as Jews, I mean, where do they need to be delivered from? It appears to me that they're free all over the planet. So, but this definition is referring to somebody who needs to be delivered. You know, what is the need of a deliverer if there's no need to be delivered? Follow me. Okay. So now as we seek to understand what a Messiah is from the biblical concept and perspective, we find that in the Harper's Bible Dictionary, it not only gives clarity to the term as meaning the anointed one, but it further defines the term that could be applied to anyone anointed or sent by God. Furthermore, it reads that in early usage in the political sphere, it referred to the kings who would come and continue the Davidic dynasty. Davidic, simply meaning the dynasty or the kingdom as it was established by King David. And it also says one anointed. It might also be referring to a priest. Messiah could refer to anyone divinely appointed to a task that affected the destiny of the chosen people. Now, Harper was a little smarter than Merriam-Webster. Webster, just instead of saying chosen people, he said Jews, assuming that they are the chosen people. But Harper was a little more honest, and he just said the chosen people. Even further still, Harper points the reader to the Holy Bible in Habakkuk 3:13 and notes that Messiah refers to either the reigning king or Israel as a nation. Now, according to this European scholar, Harper, Messiah is the reigning king, and we know that even Israel has had many kings. The scriptures tell us there should not fail a man upon the throne, which meant that there would never be a time, never a gap in all of history where there wasn't somebody sitting on the king's throne, which meant that whoever was occupying that throne by Harper's definition was a Messiah. All right. Now, in Habakkuk 3:13, y'all got to forgive me if I ain't pronouncing that right. Habakkuk, however you want to say it. Habakkuk. You go ahead and pronounce it. This ain't my language like that anyway, so y'all go ahead and wrestle with that English thing. In Habakkuk 3:13, it states,
Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for the salvation of thine anointed. Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked by discovering the foundation unto the neck. Selah.